Today, we're diving into a really cool tool called AlphaPept. It's designed to help us understand the very building blocks of life, proteins. And in the process, it's doing more than just speeding up science. It's kind of changing the rules of the game.
So, let me ask you this. What if the answer to a huge scientific question, maybe even the cure for a disease, was already out there, just buried? Buried deep inside a mountain of data that's so enormous, we can't even begin to dig through it. Well, this isn't some sci-fi plot. It's a very real problem that scientists are facing right now.
And the field where this data mountain is growing the fastest? It's called proteomics. It's basically the study of all the proteins in our bodies. And you gotta remember, proteins are these tiny, incredible machines that do, well, pretty much everything, from building our muscles to fighting off germs. Understanding them is absolutely key.
Now here's the twist. The lab equipment we use to study proteins is getting insanely good. So good, in fact, that it's creating what scientists call a data tsunami. We can generate information way faster than we can make sense of it. It's like having a fire hose of data, but we're trying to catch it all with a coffee cup. This has become the single biggest roadblock for researchers.
So, what's the solution? Enter AlphaPept. You can think of it as a brand new, high-tech toolkit designed from the ground up to tame this data tsunami. It's a completely modern, open-source system that's built to chew through all this data with just incredible speed and efficiency. And what's really smart is that the creators didn't start from zero. AlphaPept stands on the shoulders of giants. It's built on a whole ecosystem of powerful, open-source Python tools, the same kind of heavy-duty stuff that powers data science at places like Google and Netflix. This makes it super robust and lets it tap into all the latest and greatest in computer science.
And this whole approach is driven by a really clear philosophy. The team had 4 main goals in mind. First, it had to be accessible to every scientist, not just coding experts. Second, it had to be blazing fast. Third, the code needed to be solid and community tested. And finally, and this is the big one, it had to be totally open, because that's how you build trust and get people to work together.
Okay, so how does it actually work under the hood? Well, you can think of it as a 5-step process. First, it sucks in all the raw data and gets it into one clean, standard format. Then, it hunts for the important signals in that data. After that, it matches those signals to known proteins, uses a bit of AI to make sure it's right, and finally, it figures out how much of each protein is in the sample. Simple as that. Now, let's zoom in on that first step, because it's a huge deal. You see, data from different lab machines comes in all these weird proprietary formats. It's like trying to read 10 different languages at once. AlphaPept acts like a universal translator, converting everything into one super efficient format. This means all the raw data and all the final results live together in one tidy, portable file. And the payoff for doing this is just wow. So to load a typical raw data file, you might be waiting around for a minute. But once AlphaPept converts it into its special format, accessing that same data takes less than a second. We're talking more than a 300-fold speedup just for opening the file. Then, things get even smarter. AlphaPept has some machine learning magic baked right in. It actually teaches itself, using the data it's looking at, how to tell the difference between a genuine protein signal and something that's just random noise. It learns to spot the real thing. And this isn't just a cool party trick. It has a massive impact. Because of this smart scoring, AlphaPept finds over 14% more correct proteins, all while being just as accurate as other methods. For a researcher, that means getting way more valuable information out of the exact same experiment. That's a game changer. Okay, that all sounds great, but how does it hold up in the real world with a truly massive job? Well, to find out, the researchers threw the ultimate challenge at it. They had it reanalyze a huge data set from a previous study. We're talking 200 different samples, adding up to a whopping 181 gigabytes of data. And the results were kind of mind-blowing. On average, AlphaPept chewed through each one of those gigantic files in just over 2 minutes. Just let that sink in for a second. The analysis was finished many, many times faster than it took the multi-million-dollar lab equipment to create the data in the first place. So what's the secret sauce for all this speed? Well, part of it is that it's designed for modern computers. For one of the trickiest steps, it's using something called parallel computing. So instead of doing one thing at a time, it tackles the problem from all sides at once, using all the cores in your computer's main processor and even your graphics card to get the job done up to 150 times faster. All right, so how does it stack up against the competition? Well, in a head-to-head race, it does great. You can see here, compared to MaxQuant, which is a really widely used tool, AlphaPept is way faster. It gets the job done in almost half the time on this particular dataset. It's right up there with the fastest tools available. The performance is definitely top tier.
But as I said before, this project isn't just about being the fastest. There's a much bigger idea at play here, and it's summed up perfectly in this quote from the creators. They believe that the computer code you use for an analysis is a scientific method itself, and it should be published and shared right alongside the results.
It really boils down to two completely different paths for doing science. The old way is the black box approach, where the methods are secret and nobody can see how it works. That really limits trust and collaboration. But the open source way, the path AlphaPept takes, makes everything transparent. It invites people to work together, and that makes science move forward. Faster for everyone.
So when you get right down to it, this is about so much more than just a faster piece of software. It's about a movement to democratize science, to make the best tools available to everyone, for free, no matter who they are or where they work. It's about leveling the playing field.
And when you do that, you create this amazing open platform for discovery. Suddenly, the barrier to doing cutting-edge research just melts away. You've got students running these complex analyses on free platforms like Google Colab. You've got a whole community chipping in to make the tools better. And most importantly, you build a foundation of trust and reproducibility, which is what good science is all about.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that big mountain of data. The question now is, if the tools to explore that mountain are finally in everyone's hands and the biggest bottleneck is gone, what incredible discoveries, what secrets that were buried deep inside are we finally going to uncover?